Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in, and in this video we're going to talk about one of those most confusing subjects when it comes to any student life, especially when they are first generation, do not come from a privileged background, which means have somebody in their family, friends, or relatives attending college, so nobody has really taught or teach them any of these stuff that I'm going to talk about, which was essentially me. And that's the reason I put together this video, because again, it was just such a confusing topic for me, and I had to go through them one by one, asking from a lot of people, look like this stupid person, in order to gain this information. And hopefully this video will put you outside of that category and inform you about all the information you need to know in order to make educated decision, and don't look stupid like me going around asking all those people. But it really is a perspective. If you do not consider learning and educational perspective of it as a default, then asking question is not a problem, which that definitely was the case for me. All right, let's get into the topic. When it comes to the loans and it comes to the financial aid, students struggle a lot. There's just like a lot of misinformation, a lot of things that we're basically not even told, or the school don't even talk about, because there's this huge gap that when you kind of transfer from a 2-year university or a community college to a 4-year, or from high school to a 4-year university, these interactions and these informative meetings and discussions from school officials, it just gets limited and limited to the students, and students having to deal with a lot of factors, again, especially if they're coming from these unprivileged background, not knowing any of them, they just get lost and have to deal with a lot of things, which cause them to become misinformed by talking to the wrong people, those who themselves don't have these informations, or just say, hey, I don't want it. You know what? I don't know enough about it to go after it. All right, so what are the loans? All right, so when you are enrolled in order to receive your bachelor's, your master's, or your PhD, any sort of educational level after high schools, even if we're talking about the associate degree, you are basically every semester or every school year specifically, you are going to apply and provide your information to FAFSA, which is connected to the government or the educational department, and they will basically inform your school about if the student needs to receive, or we're going to provide you guys with some financial package because he doesn't have enough money, their parents don't make that much money, if their classes is basically covered, if they can be receiving an extra amount of money as a refund check from their financial department, or how much they can borrow money. All right, and then this borrow money or the student loans is where we're going to hit on, and I'm going to have separate videos about the whole financial package and everything else related to it. All right, so that was the base of it. And then they usually have 2 types of student loans that they offer. These schools offer them, which one is subsidized and the other one is unsubsidized. So these are the 2 types of loans that you can get. But that doesn't mean that's the only option that is available to you, because some people even take the third route. They need the money, their expenses is way more than what the school offers them, and they take out personal loans or they go out after their credit cards because they're borrowing the money, they're paying the interest on it, so it's the same concept. And then in certain cases, again, based on the information that you provide when you're filling out all the information about you to the FAFSA, you can also be qualified for these subcategorized loans as well, such as Parent Plus loans or etc. etc. There's a bunch of them that exist, which you may or may not qualify. Now, what is the difference between the 2 most common ones that everybody pretty much go after or receive during their educational journey? which is subsidized and unsubsidized loan. So the subsidized loan is, and I try to provide you guys with a picture as well, so when I'm talking you can read through it or pause the video and go through it yourself. With subsidized loans, you are basically at a more advantage in compared to the unsubsidized loans. Why? Because the government or the educational department is saying that, hey, when this person is borrowing the money, and they usually offer you like $3,000 or $5,000, depending again on the information that you provide, I'm going to take the hit and I'm going to pay for the interest until they're done, and done meaning finish their education, that 4 year, that 2 years, if you're especially transferring from a community college, and even 6 months after, they can start paying the interest and the money that they borrowed back. All right. Now, what's the difference with the unsubsidized loan is that as soon as you click accept on your financial page, they immediately give you the money, and the next month they start charging you for the interest rate. All right, so that's the only advantage between the subsidized and unsubsidized loan, which is considerably heavy because basically you're borrowing that money for free, which almost never happens in anywhere of the world that you're living, unless you're receiving it from one of your loved ones, from your parents, or one of the family members. And that's the reason that the subsidized loans is only offered for your undergrad degree. So your master's, which can be 2 years or above, or your PhD, which can be 4 to 6 years to 8 years, they do not give you the option for the subsidized loans. At least that's the case here in the US. And then in addition to that, they want you to be enrolled and have some sort of identification, the US identification, meaning a green card or a citizenship. And then that's pretty much it. It really sums it up. Now, if you're going on the personal loan route, which I know a lot of people do that, especially if they're immigrant and don't really know about where they have to shop in order to, especially when it comes to the grocery or other factor, in order to lower their costs, or any other factors like, with the rent, they have to basically rent a more expensive place because their documents are not set up, or any reason pretty much, then everything can be different than what it has been mentioned so far, because we're talking about personal loans. All right. And then with regards to the Parent Plus loans, or like these other ones, subcategories that you might qualify, you will be always provided with extra information which you can go through and find out yourself. But for majority of the students, these are pretty much the two options they roll with, the subsidized and unsubsidized loans. And then with regards to the personal loan, which I know very few people take them, but these are still the three common routes. And again, if you are qualified for more, there's always all this amazing information, especially with what FAFSA has done with their websites, updating the whole thing. You can find this information super quickly. Now, let's talk about basically how it works. Is that every semester you get a chance. Basically, there's this like pop-up thing on your financial page, and then you can just click accept, and boom, it delivers to your account, or they deposit it to your account with the amount that you need or they qualified you for. You can then return it if you don't need it, which is exactly what happened to my brother. He didn't want the unsubsidized loan because, again, he just didn't want to pay the interest immediately, and he returned portion of it, and he kept the subsidized loan portion of it. Okay, now that we have talked about all the different types of loans that you can potentially get, and majority of American students get them, let's talk about what is the downside with this whole system, and what is the downside with you getting a loan or getting accepted for such loans. And it's a responsibility. It's the age, it's experience, And again, it's like how easily they give out these loans without really knowing the person. Now, in any other factors, like if you're trying to purchase a car, if you're trying to purchase a house, if you're trying to get a personal loan, they normally would ask you for a lot of documentation and proof in order to qualify you for that amount, especially if we're talking about a house. Like they're asking for the income, they're asking for a down payment, they're asking how many years you've been working for that company, and etc., etc. However, when it comes to the student loan, they're just like, oh, just click accept, and that's it, you're done. Now, what's the problem with it is the majority of the students don't have that much experience, never had really that, responsibility highlighted in their life of paying back this money, of what it means when they're borrowing that money, especially if they're going on the unsubsidized route, because it's just gonna accumulate, So that is potentially a flaw within the system, which I'm not trying to say you shouldn't borrow money, because that was the wrong mindset that people told me when I started my education. And then eventually when I become educated more and more about the money, I learned that it is good in certain scenarios to borrow money. And with student loans, if you didn't know, you should know that even if you declare bankruptcy, they won't go away. They're always there. Because with majority of the loans here in the US, you can just declare bankruptcy, and then the companies were like, oh, he doesn't have anything, Just let him go for 3 years or 2 years or 5 years, that stays in your record or anything like that. But you can't do that with your student loans. So it's very serious. It can be by your neck for the rest of your life, right? And then yet they easily just hand them out to all these sort of students coming from all these different backgrounds. Some really know about the money due to their educational that they receive from their parents, and some don't. And at the end, they're gonna bite them. So it really depends on how you look at it and how you want to use it. All right, I hope this video was useful to you. And if it was, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much, and hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace.